This is Bridget Rob with Divine Essentials. Alright guys, we're moving on here with chapter 3, and it starts with Renee's story, Healing Avoidance Symptoms. When Renee and I first met, she was reluctant to tell me about her life. She felt embarrassed and ashamed. Once she recognized that I was not there to judge her, she slowly began to share how difficult things had become. She spoke of anxiety and anger. A stay-at-home mother for 2 children, Renee said that she's trying not to take her frustration out on the kids. She said that she's been yelling more than she would like to admit, and that I had promised myself I would parent differently than I was raised, but I find myself saying the exact things my mother used to say. And as a result, she said she hates herself even more. So, Renee shared that she started to fantasize about running away and that she sometimes believes her children would be better off without her. She has withdrawn from her husband, who has said he feels like he doesn't even know her anymore. She copes with food, eating junk food during the day, and having a drink or 2 in the evening deadens the pain. She said, "I'm afraid I'm ruining my kids and pushing my husband so far away that he will leave. But I guess he still loves me. He was the one who finally urged me to come into therapy." Renee's story is just one example of feeling trapped by symptoms of complex PTSD. It is common to not be able to see a way out. Relationships, work, or children can feel like too much, and as a result, it's easy to fall into patterns of withdrawal from life. This chapter provides resources for the symptoms of avoidance. These include denying your past, repressing feelings, minimizing your distress, or numbing your pain with substances. Through multiple therapeutic perspectives, you will learn valuable ways to soften your defenses so you can turn toward the difficult events of your past. The goal of this phase of trauma treatment is to develop enough stabilization of your symptoms so that you can address your traumatic memories without becoming overwhelmed or flooded. Avoidance and defenses. Avoidance behaviors come in many forms and are upheld by a psychological defense. You may have developed strong walls around your most vulnerable feelings. Maybe you use emotional eating, drinking, or excessive exercising. Perhaps you resist going out places or seeing people. These protective maneuvers come with unwanted consequences such as physical health impairments or loss of relationships that leave you feeling isolated. This section will help you to identify your defenses so you can create changes that will address the underlying issues and resolve the need for such defenses. Let's take a closer look at some of the common psychological defenses. Repression or denial. You might bury painful feelings or thoughts away from your conscious awareness. If I don't talk about or acknowledge my painful past, it doesn't exist. Regression. You might feel or act younger than you actually are as a way to avoid taking responsibilities for your feelings and actions now. If I just stay in bed and sleep all day, I don't have to go to work. Idealization. You might exaggerate the positive traits of your abusive caregiver rather than acknowledge how damaging this relationship was. In this case, the anger you feel can be misdirected towards yourself. For example, thinking, "If only I hadn't been so bad, I wouldn't have been locked in the basement." Idealization is often paired with devaluation, a polarized view in which people are either all good or all bad. Fantasy. You might engage in daydreaming about how things should be, or how you'd like them to be. Rather than addressing the challenges head on, it would be easier to run away than to get help with my anger. Intellectualizations. You might avoid feelings by resorting to thinking or analyzing situations. Sometimes this defense structure underlies workaholism, in which you busy yourself with work to distract yourself from dealing with relationships or emotional pain. I can think my way out of any challenge. Projection. You might assume that someone else is thinking or feeling in a way that actually reflects your own thoughts and feelings. For example, you feel sure your friend is angry with you, but you are in denial that it is actually you who is angry with your friend. Disassociation. You might separate the part of you that keeps up with daily tasks of living from scary or painful emotions and memories. Disassociation exists on a continuum from relatively mild sensations of fogginess, sleepiness, or difficulty concentrating to feeling numb or cut off. In the most extreme situations, you might have lapses of memory or lost time. And then addictions. It is common to use substances or maintain other addictive behaviors such as emotional eating or exercising to avoid feeling pain. Here you might say, why feel anything when I can eat, run, drink, smoke pot, take a Valium, etc. So in practice, it can be hard to see your own defenses clearly or to be fully honest with yourself about behaviors that are no longer serving you. The truth is, we all employ defenses at some point in our lives. See if you can bring self-compassion to this process. Take a few minutes to overlook the previous list of avoidance defenses, and do you relate to any of these ways of pushing painful emotions and memories away? So again, they were repression and denial, regression, where it's like you may feel younger than you actually are, or you may act in a way younger, idealization, like a lot of us do that with our caregivers, because it's like, they're our caregivers, we gotta love them, and sometimes we can minimize what was going on by, and then fantasy. I know there's a lot of people who could get caught up in like a fantasy of like what it should be like, and if it's not like that, then I'm just not even going to deal with it. Like it should be, the way it's portrayed in a movie, or the way it was portrayed in our childhood, in our little Disney books and stuff, and that can get you into trouble because nothing's really like that. Intellectualization, trying to just, avoid feeling by just thinking all the time. Projection, thinking somebody, oh, they must be mad at me, they must hate me, but in reality, you might be mad at someone and just projecting that. Disassociation, he's such a weirdo, where you just get lost. I've had whole years just be blank. Like I have no recollection of that time period. And now I can be aware of like when I've been kind of like getting lost in myself. And then addictions. And addictions take many different forms. They don't have to be like, you're a raging heroin addict. It can be something subtle. It could be something that is legal. It's still something that you might be using as a way to cope. So those are the ones. And then we will talk about the meaning behind resistance tomorrow and continue on with this. So thank you guys very much. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all of those things. I've noticed that there's more people subscribing lately, so if you're a new subscriber, thank you for being here. And I saw a lot of new members come into the Muniki Rights group this week. If you're somebody looking to like get the Muniki Rights, they're on my website and they're in my new link in the bio thing on these new videos, like the little link in the bio, they're there. So yeah, I think that's it. Somebody won one of the Tantric Twins tonight, and I sent out private readings today. We have a graduate of Alcyone Light Healing, which is on the channel as well. And yeah, in Mune, namaste.